It's time for the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Powerful and liberating business strategies you can start in 5 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, Dean Soto.
Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of FreedomIn5Minutes.com and Prosulum.com. And we're here again for another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode. Today's topic is this. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to everyone. That and more coming up. So, good morning. I'm here with La Luna Meister. We're out and about having our fun. So we just got back not too long ago. You're probably hearing this a bit delayed, but as of recording this, just got back from Southern California. We were talking at WeWork, 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 and at Spaces, Spaces. Both of them are very big co-working spaces, wonderful people, and they invite us to come and speak. So I was doing some speaking engagements there, and came back. Had some really cool engagements there. So this is one of at least at one of the WeWorks is the third time that we were invited, and we had what was it? So there's a third type of talk. So the first, it's interesting because the first talk is on systems. The second one was on lead generation, and the third one is on podcasting and automating your podcast just like this. Like, I don't know if you realize this, but I press a button, I podcast, I press a button, it's done. Like, it's done. And my beautiful, wonderful team does essentially the majority of the rest, aside from some technical stuff that I've created for them to help them out. And it's done because there's a system. And so I was able to show that for the first time ever, I was able to show this podcasting system to them, and they to people, and they were blown away. So I actually went out into the crowd and I said, okay, well, let's give this a try. And I pressed the button. I said, hey, this is Dean Soto with Freedom in 5 Minutes, and I'm here with, and the guy's name was Nathan. He's all Nathan, bop. And I said, oh, and thank you, Nathan. Okay, great. And I pressed the button to stop it, and started talked a little bit, heard my email go, which means that it meant that the audio and everything was processed, and I pressed the button, and boom, the podcast was all processed audio with intros and outros and all that other stuff on it. And they were blown away, which is cool. So I've never shared that before with anybody. But that's actually not what we're going to be talking about. I was just excited to share that we went and had a blast doing this stuff for people. So what I am excited about sharing is a story, the main story of today. So we have a client who is funny because they came on at the end of 2019, and during the sales call, the initial sales call, my buddy Paul and I were driving back from Spaces, which was one of the places that we actually talked. We did a speaking engagement today at. So we were driving back from Spaces, and it was funny. It was actually pretty interesting because when we did this, when we were on this call, the guy had a business partner. The business partner was older, so they're kind of in the financial services industry, and the business partner was older. And he saw that what we were doing, he actually became a customer through our cold email system, sending out cold emails that are all customized and scaled to people. And we were in the call, and he was like, hey, yeah, the guy who I'm partnered with, he's on the older side. He's probably going to retire soon. He's not really great with technology. He's going to be kind of more of a hindrance than somebody who, he'll probably be more of a hindrance than me, who I understand what's going on. I understand what you do, and it's amazing what you do, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. And so we had several different sales calls, and eventually they became clients. Well, it turns out that the old guy who's the partner, he is loving the service. He creates videos all the time. He understands the concept and has been building out processes and systems with his virtual systems architect very easily. Whereas the guy who said that he would be a hindrance is actually having a really hard time creating videos. Even to this day, I have a meeting with him at 1. And so this morning he sent me a couple of videos that he did for his virtual systems architect. And the first thing that I noticed was that this is an issue that a lot of people have when they're building systems for people. This happens a lot with lawyers. This happens a lot with CPAs. This happens a lot with people who are used to being the bottleneck in their business. And there's a reason why they're a bottleneck in their business, especially when they're training or creating things for other people. And the thing that I noticed was that he was speaking to his virtual systems architect, his VSA. And you're probably thinking, what the heck are you talking about, Dean? Why does that make a difference? Of course he's going to be speaking to his VSA. That's who he's sending the video to, right? Well, that would be a big wrong. He is not sending his video to his VSA. That's not how you want to build systems. When you are building systems, you should not be talking to an individual, right? You should be talking to everybody, because you don't know if that person's going to be there in the future. You don't know what situation's going to change. And so when I saw this video, one of the things that he did was he said, okay, so this is how we manage our LinkedIn profile and how we manage our marketing on LinkedIn. So the first thing I want you to do is open up the document that I sent you. So what's the problem with that? Dean, what if he sent a document to this person? Well, think about Jeff Bezos. I was talking with Marissa this morning about this, and she totally understood and agreed. Of course, you better, because you're my wife, right? Think about Jeff Bezos, though. I have a big bumblebee flying around me. Leave me alone, bee. Does Jeff Bezos, if you say he had to create a process for somebody, would he say, go to the email that I sent you? Or would he say, go to the document that I sent you? No, he has thousands of employees, right? And he knows at some point in time that employee is going to leave, or that employee is going to change positions, or that employee is going to get sick. And so that document needs to be in a place where everybody else can grab it. And the process has to say something like this. You are going to go to the LinkedIn messaging document, which it is found if you go to Google Drive, you go to the business folder and you go to this folder and you go to this folder and it's right here and it's what it looks like. This is what it's titled. He knows that it has to be that way because he doesn't know if one person's going to be doing it in the future or 50 people are going to be doing it in the future. He doesn't want to send 50 emails later on, right? And he doesn't want to have 50 emails coming to him saying, hey, sir, you said in your process that you sent me a document. I'm not sure which document you're talking about. Can you send me that document? 50 times or 100 times, 1,000 times, having to go, oh yeah, let me send that document. Let me send that document to you. Let me send that. He doesn't want to do that, right? And so he has to speak to everyone. And this is one of the big pitfalls of a lot of people who create systems or try to create systems, is that they are speaking to one person and they are assuming many, many things based around speaking to that one person. And so why is this important? It's important so that as you're starting to create these systems around your business, the more that you're able to see things as almost like a computer program, almost as if you're going to have thousands of users utilizing what you have created. If you log in to, whatever your favorite thing is, maybe Asana or some Google Calendar or whatever, your name is different than everyone else's, right? Because they realized, well, we have to have a variable that is able to show this person's name of who they logged in. It doesn't just say, hello, Google user. No, it says Dean Soto, right? So they created a variable knowing that thousands of people are going to log in, thousands of people are going to want to see their name. So we're going to create this variable that is simply their name. And that's just one thing that they're thinking about, right? And Google, when you create an account, you don't have to go and email Google with a different email address and say, hey, Google, can you create an account for me for Gmail? No. They know that thousands of people are going to want to create accounts, or millions in this case. So they have a whole system that allows millions of people to create accounts by themselves. The same goes with systems. You have to make it whatever information that's needed. You have to look at it and start and basically set things up in a generic but specific way. My wife came up with this today. Generic but specific. Generic in the sense that it's a form and this is where the form's at. But specific in this is what you do with that form in these circumstances, right? And so what I want you to do this week is whatever system or process you have where you've created it around one person, where you've said, hey, Michelle, in the thing it says, send an email to Michelle once you're done. And it actually says that in the process. That process needs to be changed to something like send to your supervisor when it's done, or send to HR when it's done. Because Michelle might not always be there, right? But HR will always be there. Your supervisor will always be there. Your supervisor might be Michelle, it might be George, it might be Steve, it might be Sam, it might be Lala, it might be whomever, right? So this week, I want you to make your systems and processes a little bit more generic and a little bit more specific. All right, so this is Dean Soto. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com. You got to. It's about time, guys. You got to go check out freedomin5minutes.com. It's part of the plan of making it to where you work only 5 minutes a day. And go check out prosulum.com, prosulum.com. If you want a virtual systems architect that'll do all of this for you, 5 minutes a day, trained, document everything that you're doing, and automate your entire business so that you can work 4 hours a month. All right, so this is Dean Soto with Freedom in 5 Minutes, and I will catch you on the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Now, head over to www.freedomin5minutes.com and register for our free masterclass and discover how to start systemizing and automating your entire business 5 minutes at a time. We'll see you next time on the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.